Alright, YouTube, I got another video, how-to video for everybody. I got to do an oil change on my 1997 4Runner. It's a 3.4 liter V6, two-wheel drive, automatic. It's got about 240,000 miles on it. It's a great car. We've had no problems with it since we've had it. We're the original owners. Anyways, we'll get started on that. I'm going to do a step-by-step oil change, and hopefully won't miss any steps.
Alright, so there it is. Great car. I highly recommend anybody if you're interested in a 4Runner, pick one up if you can. They hold their value, and this thing's been nothing but reliable for us. My family and my wife's family we've always driven Toyotas. And this car actually belonged to my in-laws, and it was kind of given to us. So, but my in-laws had never any issues with it, and we've had it for about 3 years now and haven't had any issues at all with it. All right, so, and then there's the old Avalon from the other video, still running good. All right, so the first step is we're gonna go ahead and pop the hood, and that's hood latch is right here. It's the tan colored one that matches the dashboard color. Pull straight out. Also, please make sure that you chalk the wheels. On these 4Runners, you should not need to do any, you shouldn't need to jack the thing up at all. These things, the two-wheel drive and the four-wheel drive sits high enough off the ground that you can get under here without having to raise the vehicle. Unless you're a super big person, you shouldn't have to, put it on any kind of jacks or blocks or anything like that. So I'm just going to crawl under there with it just sitting here on the garage floor. Make sure that the car is in park, and make sure that you got this e-brake set, and put a brick or something behind the wheels to make sure that it's not going to roll. Alright, so we got our hood open, and I'm going to go ahead and answer this question for those of you who out there. I know that there are people out there that don't know how to open the hood of the car. There's a little latch down here. After you pop the hood, you'll lift up with your finger on this latch. That'll release the safety mechanism on the hood. This is here to basically, if the hood were to pop open while you're driving, that it won't fly up in the windshield and block your view. So you're going to lift up, just put your fingers underneath the hood there after it pops up, and pull up on this, and it'll release that mechanism. Alright, so next step, we're going to take the oil cap off the valve cover. It's going to be on the driver's side. It's going to be right to the left of the battery, so you'll look for the battery right to the left of it. You'll see a black round cap. You're just going to turn that and open it and remove it. One thing I always like to do when I pull the oil cap off every time I change the oil in any vehicle is go ahead and look inside the oil cap here. Make sure that you don't have any discoloration of the oil, that it doesn't look like chocolate milk, or it has a white creamy looking consistency to it. That would indicate that there's water getting into the oil, and a possible head gasket leak, possible block, crack, or possible intake or exhaust cracks or anything like that. I mean, anywhere where water would mix with the oil on the engine, you want to make sure. And likewise, you want to do it over here as well. Just kind of take a look in there, make sure that everything looks good. This one looks good. The only thing you should see in there is a little bit of residual oil sitting inside the valve train assembly. Alright, so just like the Avalon, the socket that you're going to need to take the oil drain plug out is going to be a 15 millimeter 6-point hex head. Okay, it's a standard socket that you should find in every set that has a millimeter metric set. It's a little bit different on the 4Runner because it's an SUV. It has a skid plate system underneath, so you're not going to be able to reach the drain plug with just the socket wrench and the socket. You're going to have to put a 3/8 extension on there. This is a 3/8 drive, 3-inch extension. I may have to use a 6-inch extension. I'm not sure. This looks like it might fit. So just remember, you're going to need an extension on the 4Runner to reach this. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to reach it because of the skid plates in the way. Alright, so I've got my cardboard laid down to prevent any residual oil leakage or anything like that during this process from hitting the ground. I've got an oil pan sitting here ready to go, and we've got a wrench. Now, this fun part. Right under right underneath here, I don't know how well you can see that, you'll see a hole about 5 inches in diameter. It's in the skid plate. Look back in there. Sorry for the camera work, it's kind of hard to do this. I need a flashlight too, but you can see, you'll see the bolt for the drain plug on the 4Runner here on the engine. It's the only bolt on the bottom of the engine through this large hole here in the skid plate that you'll be able to see, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the video. Probably not, but you'll see it when you stick your face up in there, you'll see it. Alright, so I got that drain plug out. It was torqued in there pretty good, but I got it out, and it is now draining. This 3.4 liter V6 should hold it's a 3.4 liter dual overhead cam V6. It should hold approximately 5.5 quarts of oil. What we're going with today is just the special they had at the local auto parts store. It's a Mobile Super 5000, you know, basic 5W30 oil. I think it was like $18.99 with the filter. And the filter for this is the same one as the Avalon. It's an L10241. So I'm sure that Toyota probably used those filters for many years with different applications, but probably use the same because, you know, it's the same filter for the same manufacturer, different engine. But so I'm gonna let this drain all the way out till it just starts to drip, and then I'm going to go after the oil filter next. And just like in the last video, like I did in the Avalon, take a look at your drain plug while it's draining. Make sure you don't have any debris on here. Make sure your crush filter or your crush washer looks like it's in good shape. This one I'm gonna reuse again. I don't bother replacing these things because if you tighten it down enough, there's no reason to really bother with it. But if you're one of those people who has to have one brand new every time you change the oil, go to the Toyota dealership. They're, you know, a couple dollars for a bag of them. So after that's done draining, we're going to put this drain plug back in, and then we're going to go after the oil filter. Alright, so the same oil filter wrench that was used on the Avalon, the smaller size oil filter wrench, is what you use to take the filter off the 3.4 liter. Because this model, even though it's a two-wheel drive, for some reason this model came with skid plates underneath, and I am not particularly sure why my in-laws ordered them, or if the dealership ordered them, or why they're on this model, because it's a two-wheel drive. But it makes it a little more difficult to get to the oil filter. Now, the oil filter's on the driver's side. It's going to be down here underneath where the the exhaust manifold is on this side of the engine. I'm going to get a flashlight and see if I can shine a flashlight down there so I can get you guys some better light. Okay, so if you're looking down from the front of the engine, you see your alternator right there. That's the item right there that has the big metal thing with the belt on it. Okay, that's your alternator. Down inside there in that little gap, you see that white writing is? There's like a white line and some writing. That's the oil filter. It is a pain in the neck to get to from the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down on the bottom side and see if we can get it from there. Okay, I am on the driver's side of the car underneath the front wheel. Right there's our oil filter. Now, you're going to have to slip the wrench on that thing and rotate it out and make sure that you have your drain pan underneath here, because all the oil is going to run down the side of the engine and onto the floor. So you're going to make sure you want to have something there to catch it. But that is where the oil filter is, driver's side of the car on the bottom. You have to get underneath the driver's side door to see what you're doing. I'm going to get this wrench on there and get this thing pulled out, and we'll get the new one put on. Okay, so I got the oil filter off. We're going to put the new one on, so we need to put a little bit of oil in here and put a little oil on the rubber O-ring here to make sure that it doesn't leak. Now, I got in there and found out that the old filter was only on there hand tight. It was borderline loose. Not to the point where it was leaking, but it was loose enough that I could turn it without putting any effort on it. And this is just to kind of tell you guys, you know, you take your cars to these quickie lube places, and they charge you, 20 bucks for an oil change. You got to understand that you've got 18, 19-year-old kids that don't, that just graduated high school, that don't know a lick about cars. or having a job, and they do these jobs and they're investing. You know, you're messing with a $50,000 car. You know, sometimes. So what happened was my mother-in-law was the one that took this and had the oil change out last time, and not me. So because she bought it for a couple weeks and had it done in Charlotte, and this place obviously did not tighten the oil filter on. They over torqued the drain plug and they under torqued the filter. So anyways, I got it out. Another thing I want to point out on the 3.4 liter V6 is that Toyota has since changed the location of this oil filter. On the newer Toyotas, like I believe it's 2009 and up, you're going to find it right here on top. It's inverted and it's in a perfect spot. You just put your hand down, grab it, rotate it, get it right out. You don't have to crawl under the car. You don't do anything. It's perfect. Whoever designed that, you know, buy that man a beer, okay? Somebody was using their brain when they thought about it instead of saying that, you know, oh, let's tuck it in real tight behind some part of the car. So, anyways, what I'm going to do is just pour just a tiny little bit of oil in here so when we start the engine up, we don't have a completely dry start. I'll lube up a little bit on here on this this plastic rubber gasket deal here, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall the oil filter. Okay, the new filter's in place. What you want to do is once you get it on there, hand tighten it down to the point where you can't turn it anymore, and then turn it maybe an eighth to a quarter more of a turn. Do not strip it, do not over tighten it, because you'll never get it back off. But it's in there now. So next step is we're going to go back up top and we're going to pour 5.5 quarts of oil into the engine from the valve cover. Alright, so I just poured in 5.5 quarts of oil into the valve cover oil fill, and we're going to just put the cap back on it. Make sure it's tight, and then we will, only thing we have to do now is start the car up and make sure everything sounds right, check for leaks, and that's it. If you have any questions, post them to the video, and subscribe, and check out the future videos I'm going to have on here hopefully soon. Thanks, bye.